Hi, it's Adam. I'm filming this video on behalf of the VJ Waller Show. Please check VJ Waller Show out. Great videos. We're going to talk about incomings and outgoings. Transfer window, of course, open at the moment. A lot going on, a lot of rumours. First of all, I'm going to get straight into it. Eddie Nketiah, stay or go?
Go. Please, go. I'm sorry, but do you know Eddie Nketiah has been really, absolutely poor in the previous games we've had. Each time I see him go on that pitch, where I sit, I get a better view of the Arsenal pitch. And when I see Eddie Nketiah, he does nothing on that pitch. He could just run around the whole pitch, but do nothing. I'm sorry. So that's why I'm saying that if I was Arteta, sell him, and we'll get a new player that will take over his position for this club. Okay, he's not been good at all. Okay, he scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United this season at Emirates. Fine. But after that, why has he turned out to be a dog shit player? Like, why? I don't understand.
Championship level club, Sheffield United. Sorry, Sheffield United fan. Right, next one, Emile Smith-Rowe, stay or go?
For me, I would like to keep him because I think he's quite a versatile player. Because obviously he can play, the left day, he can play central attacking midfielder. Like I said, the left day option, box to box, he can play left wing or right wing. Realistically though, I think the club will sell him because obviously it's a 100% profit player because, I can't remember the term, there's some fancy term they use, like it's sustainability, sustainability of the club or something or other. Yeah. I would like to get like at least 30 to 40 million for Emile Smith-Rowe that we can reinvest, into another position. Like, a proper left 8 or right wing. So I would like you to stay Emile Smith-Rowe because obviously you're a Highland boy. And a couple of seasons ago, I think, was it the 2021 season when him and Saka carried us? And was it like 10 to 12 goals off the bench that Smith-Rowe got for us that season? But sadly, Emile Smith-Rowe, you're probably going to get sold.
So the 21-22 season, when I became a season ticket holder, believe it or not, that was when I became a season ticket holder. Emile Smith-Rowe, he did score some big goals, but I think I'm going to agree with Clock and Curtis. I think Arteta's not using him enough, and it's probably time to go. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about is Thomas Partey. Now, a lot of rumours, which saddens me a little because he's a great player. A lot of rumours saying he's going to go. This one's going to be a bit more controversial. Do you want him to go or not?
Thomas Partey, obviously he's been a changeable player, so fans say he should go, fans say he should stay. I'm actually supporting Partey, he should stay, He knows when to track back, he knows when to move forward, his defence is good. Some people like to push him out of the club, but come on, Thomas Partey, he knew when to Arsenal wants to try and fight for this league title, he did well towards the last game of the season. I know he was poor, but I still believed for a black guy like him, of course he was young and obviously I knew he was going to get there, so I gave the guy a chance, and yes, he's improved. So I'll say he should not go.
I'm going to say he's got to go. It's a shame because I love Thomas Partey as a player.
Hey, why want him to go? I don't understand. Sorry to ask. Why do you want him to go?
The thing is, you've got to think about your best skill or your best characteristic as a player is your availability. And sadly, he's not available. I can't remember the statistic that Cecil on AFTV said. It was like more than 50% games per season that he's not available due to fitness. It's a shame because he's such a talented player, and in a modern day era, he's like a proper progressive holding midfielder. Receives the ball, he's very athletic. He can turn on a half turn, release the ball, great passing. But unfortunately, he's just not available. And we've got to think of the last couple of campaigns, was it last season he broke down in really key time. Sorry, when I say last season, is in 22-23 season. He was unavailable at the busiest end of the season, game 30 to 38. Then the season just gone. I think he only featured in 6 games in 23-24, and every time that he was coming back from injury, he was keep getting setbacks. And also you got to think from a value standpoint. I think we paid, was it 45 or 50 million? We paid for him initially when we first booked him on a 4-year deal with an option to extend. And realistically, he's only got 1 year left on his deal, which means he would walk away for free. And we've got to think, as a club, we have to think about our wage structure in terms of profits, etc. And we could easily get a 25-30 mil for him this season, reinvest. And we have other options for CDM. So you've got Declan Rice to play CDM.
You've got Havertz as well.
But in terms of actual CDM though, you've got to think more of a holding midfielder. We've got Declan Rice who can play there, and who else? We've got Jorginho who can play there. Even though he hasn't got the legs. That's the thing. Partey gives you the athleticism, in terms of progressive midfield movement, which I can understand why you want him to stay, because there'll be some games Jorginho won't be appropriate for because he's not got You know, he's not versatile enough, he's not quick enough. But I think realistically, they're going to take money for Thomas Partey and get another CDM in. Or probably, I'd like to see a versatile midfielder who can play CDM or box to box.
Yeah.
So
So there we go. So Emma Smith Rowe for me, yeah, probably has to go. Nketiah definitely has to go. Sorry, I know that's harsh, but sometimes you've just got to cut your losses. And Partey's a 50-50 one for me. I think, you know, again, it's about availability, and over the last couple of seasons, he's not been available, and we need players that are available in every single game. So 50-50. I can't really decide on that one. Sorry to be a cop out, but
there's a few players you've not mentioned though.
a few players we haven't mentioned. Who are we not talking about?
Lokonga, what's your thoughts on Lokonga?
To be honest with you, Lokonga, he's been alright. I still want to give him a chance. You know, there's some players that were poor in the past, but he proved. I still give them a chance as well. So I'll say he shouldn't go. So I think.
Yeah,
What about
Lokonga's
Tierney?
done alright, isn't he? Especially for Luton, he did quite well for Luton.
Everyone likes Tierney. I mean, everyone used to love Tierney. Tierney is good at scoring. That's one thing.
Is it a buy or sell for Tierney, or does he come back into the squad?
He comes back into squad because I remember I used to, when I was in the stadiums watching Arsenal games, I used to remember how Tierney was always hungry to score. Okay, I barely see him dribble. He can sometimes dribble, not all the time to score a lot of goals like Erling Haaland does in Manchester City. Think of Erling Haaland, how he loves to score all the time. Tierney does that. I would love Tierney to be part of this Arsenal squad next season. That's why I say he should not go.
Tavares, are we keeping Tavares or are we selling?
I think Tavares, if you'd asked me last season, I'd say definitely go, but he's done alright, hasn't he, on loan, I think?
He's done reasonable. Like, I think, you know, he had a few goals and assists. So, but these are more the fringe players. But with Lokonga, even though I would like to sell, the thing is, he could provide cover for the CDM box to box.
Yeah.
But realistically, he's kind of like a Luton or Crystal Palace or Brighton type player.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. You know, there's definitely some money to be made from the outgoings.
Yeah, and I think we've got to make as much money as possible. I mean, look at Liverpool over the years. I've seen on Sky Sports News the other day that, you know, they get sort of 30-40 million quid for pretty bang average players over the years, and we've got to do the same. And I think if we do, we maximise, we'll have some good money for the transfer window, especially in light of our Champions League run, qualifying for the Champions League again. So let's move on to players coming in now. On my transfer video, I said Benjamin Sesko, yes or no? Benjamin Sesko, yes or no?
Benjamin Sesko, to be honest with you, I don't know what to say about him because I barely see him much. So, but I'll just say I want to see him more next season. So I'll say yes, of course. I'll say yes to that.
I'm going to say yes. I've not seen much of him. Obviously, I know that he plays in the Bundesliga. He scored a few goals.
Yeah.
I'm more sceptical about buying players who are obviously not Premier League proven, because, you know, we've seen. I remember, obviously, I know it's a different club and different player, but I remember Timo Werner when he was brought in by Chelsea. He was meant to be the next best thing, and he didn't do great on his loan there. But then we obviously went back to the Bundesliga. Then obviously he's ended up back at Tottenham. And he's not been great there, and then they signed him again. But, you know, Sesko, if Arteta, you know, if you want to roll the dice, we're going to have to go with it, because I know that when we signed Kai Havertz at the time, I was really, really frustrated. I was like, how's he going to fit in? But then
Because
when
he came from Chelsea. Think of Chelsea that were poor 2 seasons ago, and he came from Chelsea. That's why he was poor, because he came from Chelsea. But when he got better and better, think of it against Chelsea. You know, do you know what I mean? I'm sorry to cut you, forgive me, but like against Chelsea, he scored twice. That has to be something you must
I'm going to have some faith in Arteta, because, you know, I looked at it and think, well, we had Granit Xhaka for like 7 seasons, 4 seasons were poor, 3 seasons were reasonable, and the last 2 seasons have been really, really good.
Yeah.
So last season, or shall we say summer 2023, when we signed Kai Havertz, I thought to myself, well, if Mikel Arteta can get that out of Granit Xhaka, he's going to be able to get out Kai Havertz. And, you know, he proved everyone wrong about Kai Havertz. You know, first he was playing in midfield, then when he went up top playing as a false 9, you know, he was getting consistent numbers from Kai Havertz in terms of goals and assists. So, you know, I have faith in Arteta that he gets his Sesko in from the Bundesliga, and the guy within a few months will settle in to, you know, Premier League. Because you've got to think, like, I think do you remember when Dennis Bergkamp first signed for the club?
Yeah.
Like, he took quite a bit of time to get going.
He did.
So,
He did.
You know, so we've got to have faith on Arteta that players that he does sign, you know, even if they're from other leagues, that they're going to work out. You know.
We haven't spoken about strikers, like forward people that play forward. We haven't spoken about Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. Now
They're wingers though, they're not strikers.
oh, are they? Sorry,
They're wingers, but go on, yeah, they're wingers.
But for Saka, of course, I'm gonna say Saka. Obviously, I love the guy. Saka, big up to the answer. I've always loved what you do. You know, you are the star man. Every single Arsenal knows I always had your back, of course. You know, I know you were like, you know, it's kind of like you were poor in towards end of 2023, but obviously you're always like, you know, one of the top players in Arsenal. So I want to see more of you next season. I want to see you take this club to like, you know, a higher level. Yeah, then big teams like Manchester City and Liverpool to always do what you always do, score their goals and all that. Like, you know, always.
What are we going to do about wing options, Josh? You know, Bukayo Saka can't play every game as a
Well, he
winger.
can't play every game.
So who are we going to?
Tony.
Okay, but he's a striker. Who are we going to sign as a wing option? Are we going to get Mohamed Kudus in? Because he can play right wing, he can play left wing, he can play false nine.
Kudus can play anywhere.
He can play central attacking midfielder.
I agree on that. He could play anywhere.
Any other right wingers you're interested in? Derby from Aston Villa or
No, I
Leon Bailey, maybe?
I prefer Mohamed Kudus because if you say he can play at anywhere like right wing, like, you know, so I mean, yeah, I agree with that. So I take Mohamed Kudus for that.
I think we've sort of touched on a point here that Arsenal have an over-reliance on some players, and I think that was really badly shown at the end of the 22-23 season. Of course, Saliba was out, and we had to play Rob Holding at the back, and I think there's a lot of pressure on Saka, and I think, you know, he's a fantastic player, but I think we need people around him, and I think that's what we need to be looking to do in this transfer window. We need cover with every position. Now, with Benjamin Sesko, it's a no for me, because I think I would rather see a Premier League proven striker. For instance, Ollie Watkins was an Arsenal fan growing up. Why couldn't we ask Aston Villa about Ollie Watkins?
Ollie Watkins would be interesting, but it all comes down to age. I feel like how we've got the squad set up in terms of like age profile, in terms of wage structure and contract length, days of going for kind of older players like, you know, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette have long gone. Even though Ollie Watkins is a proven goal scorer, and I think in our system he would flourish, he just concerns me. I think he's like 27, 28 maybe. Yeah. And it's like, do we want to really sign a player at that age on a 3 or 4 year deal? But the thing is, if he comes in, would he score goals? Probably yes. Would he help us compete? Would he give rotational cover to Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus? Probably yes.
Ollie Watkins for you?
What he just said, yes, I agree, because, you know, we just want, like, you know, just players that are just up for it, with skillful, know, like, have the passion, like, fight, like, to go out there. We need players that are like going to be super strong for Manchester City, because, like we said on your channel earlier, or the Arnold Sports Production channel, we spoke about how if we want to like take it to, like, you know, Etihad, you know, we have to beat Manchester City next season at their ground. We've already beaten them at Emirates. Yeah. Now that performance that day against Manchester City at Emirates needs to be the most important thing for next season. How you can take it to Etihad and beat them by getting the most strongest players. Like, yeah, like obviously what you said, I agree.
So there are other options. What are we talking about? We're talking about maybe an Ivan Toney, and Evan Ferguson. You know, there's a few options out there. There might be a lot of money.
There are a lot.
We need Ivan Toney. Did you not hear us? I remember against Crystal before the Crystal Palace game against Emirates, I heard on the news Ivan Toney might come to Arsenal, because I think it's Brentford's top player ever. What he does at Brentford, he could do it here as well. So you may never know who will come out in the transfer window. I mean, we've got the whole summer to see who comes to Arsenal Football Club for next season. Yeah. So you may never know. He could come, but God knows. I'm just God willing that he actually comes, because to be honest with you, if you look on Mikel Arteta, yeah, like, I'm gonna go to the Manchester one. I've literally just heard on the news that he has signed a contract, a long-term contract that, you know, I remember during the season he signed a contract till 2025. I thought next year would be his final, like, you know, year of him being manager, but that contract is like really long. So like, if he doesn't want to leave next year, now Mikel Arteta. Now let me say this to you: if you love this club more than we as fans, then you've got to show us that you love this club. I mean, your managing has been good this season, but like not at that standard where we club lift that trophy, you know. Fans wanted you out. I can't lie, I'm not against those fans. I'm backing you this time around, because I still believe you could do it next season to buy like new players that will fit in this club when we want to take it to Manchester City. That's our goal standard for next season. You have to take it to Etihad and beat the Manchester City at their ground. That's what. So Arteta's all down to you. If you sign that contract, yeah, let that contract be something you don't waste. If you ball the league, then that's your problem.
Okay, so there we go. I'm going to glaze over a couple of other rumours. Rashford, for me, is a no. I talked about that on Josh's channel, Josh
You
UE
don't think we're
TV.
missing a trick with Marcus Rashford? I know he's an
I
unpopular
wouldn't have him,
choice.
mate. I wouldn't have him. What about you? I mean,
So I'm not overly keen on signing him, but I'm thinking as an option for, you know, a left winger or maybe a false nine. I think, like, you know, under the right coaching, under Mikel Arteta, he could be good, but it could be a risky deal. But then I'm hearing reports it might only be 45 to 65 mil to get the deal done. However, you've got to think it's going to be, in terms of the wages, do we really want to spend 300 to 400 grand a week on someone who's out of favour and out of form at Manchester United? Because he may actually flourish at another club, but it is a risky deal.
Yeah, I mean,
we're missing a trick with some of the other players though, like maybe Martinelli as Trossard as a false nine. Do you think we should be seeing more of him, in other positions in addition to the left wing? Should we be seeing them tried out as false nines down the middle?
I mean, I've been saying it all season. I think we need just an out and out striker. I mean, I think it's difficult really because we in the games that have cost us the league. Your Aston Villa at home, your Fulham away. Your home against West Ham in December, which was a very miserable night as well.
First loss at the Emirates. Think about that.
First loss at the Emirates. We had so many chances in those games, and it was Trossard. I love Trossard, but he missed from 3 yards out against Emi Martinez in that Villa game. Yeah. I mean, surely we need someone that's just going to do it. And I was a big fan, and I'm going to say the name again, Alexander Isak. I love the player. I think he's fantastic, but I have heard that Newcastle have put a £140 million price tag on his head.
The thing is, a few seasons ago when we was linked to him, I wasn't overly keen, I wasn't overly impressed, but I think since coming to the Premier League, he's really, really bedded in well in terms of his goals and assists and his physical presence. His agility in the ball, his ability to drive, he's very physical. He's a very physical striker who imposes himself on defenders. Yeah. So, especially under our system, I think he'd have good numbers in terms of goals and assists. He might be key to get us over the line.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Yeah, I think what he says wrong because we've been a lot of Arsenal fans. You see us literally. We come to all these Arsenal games, giving our all. We don't want to keep coming to these Arsenal games every single season where we see loss against teams that maybe as good as we are. Against Now, when we talk about Aston Villa, I see Aston Villa now a really good team to qualify for Champions League for Unai Emery, our board manager. You know what?
Done wonders, isn't it? Done wonders with them.
Do you know one thing I don't understand about Unai Emery? If he can make West Ham, Aston Villa that qualified for Champions League because they finished fourth. If Unai Emery has been a good manager to Aston Villa, why couldn't he be that same good manager to us? Think of 4 years ago we went to the Europa League final against Chelsea and we bought that Europa League final.
It was a tough one for Emery though. You got to think about the squad that he had.
And fans wanted Emery out. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I wanted him out. You know why? Because when he didn't make Arsenal win the league and then we bought the Europe, he went and then we found a proper manager that was Arteta. I mean, think of Wenger won us a trophy years ago. It's a very long time ago. Arteta's won us the FA Cup. We need a manager that will help us win bigger trophies, and it's all down to the manager. That's because
it's a mixture, though, isn't it? It's a mixture of the manager and the players. You got to think back to the Emery reign that he did have that 22 games or 20 games unbeaten run. We finished fifth. We got to Europa League final.
We did.
Beat Valencia, Napoli to get there.
We did.
We beat some good teams to get there. Yeah. And you got to think though the squad that he had. So people say why couldn't he have done it? The squad that Emery's got to top four. I would say is a better squad than what we had at the time. Who do we have? Callum Chambers, Ainsley Maitland-Niles,
Papadopoulos.
Was it Socrates?
Yeah.
Squadron Mustafi. Who else we thinking?
Mustafi.
What the fuck? Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Papadopoulos.
Was it Socrates?
Yeah.
Squadron Mustafi. Who else we thinking?
Mustafi.
What the fuck? Siad Passanak. Who else did we have? Lucas Torreira, Mohamed El Neni, Granit Xhaka,
yes. Aubameyang.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Alexander Lacazette. Do we have Nicolas Pepe? Alex Iwobi.
Ozil. Think of Ozil as well.
Mesut Ozil without work rate.
So declining Mesut Ozil.
So you've got to think the squad that Unai Emery had.
Yeah.
At Arsenal wasn't the best squad. Mikel has been given a lot of money to improve the squad, so it's all on him to get it over. The squad that Unai Emery had at Aston Villa was a reasonable squad, was a top four capable squad. So fair play to Aston Villa next season, they'll give it a go. But what their fans are overlooking is how difficult it's going to be. We saw that with Newcastle. Yeah. Was it last year Newcastle? Was it the 22-23 season when Newcastle finished third?
Third, and then of course they've run dry, haven't they, in the Champions League?
The following year when they got in with the Champions League, we saw what effect it had on them. Similar
Yeah.
to like West Ham. Do you remember when West Ham went far in the Europa League and they finished 7th that season? What
Yeah.
happened the next season? They found it tough. Yeah, they did get Conference League, but some clubs they find it difficult to
Yeah.
run with Europe and domestic. You'll think even with us, like, you know, when we had that season where, you know, was it when we just missed out on top 4?
Yeah.
And then was it without Europe or we went out of Europe, etc.
We
And we
did.
found it tough.
We did.
You know,
Yeah.
even what I believe about Mikel Arteta is that I feel that he has to kind of respect the other competitions like Champions League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup. Like, I'm liking that I'm seeing him rotate a lot less because I know a few seasons ago we were seeing it that he was doing, you know, Europa League and over-rotating.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to be seeing instances where we see Tomiyasu and Saliba getting injured in the same game,
Yeah.
like Sporting away, what was
Yeah,
that, like March
yeah.
2023. So hopefully we do some good ins and outs, and next year we compete on all fronts. We've got to take it far. We can't be going out early in the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, or Champions
Yeah,
League.
not good enough.
Look, we've seen like this. Like, what did we just see? We saw Dortmund, Borussia Dortmund, go to the
Yeah,
Champions
the
League
final.
Exactly,
with
and they're
Real
not good
Madrid.
in Bundesliga League. I mean, to be honest with you, Dortmund are not good as of that, but that they managed to get to the Champions League. Okay, I looked at Dortmund. Okay,
And they had Real Madrid on the ropes for most of the
Exactly.
game.
Yeah.
But Real Madrid had clinical finishes.
speaking of that, congrats to
Bunches-
Real Madrid that won the Champions League. Though, to be honest with you, congrats, because think of it, that reminded me when we played Bayern Munich, like even that reminded me when we were in the quarter final and then it was 2-2 on aggregate. Because the ref didn't even give that a penalty to Simon Sack got foul box. There was 60,000 asked for that. It was a penalty that day. I was even at that game, you know. And to be honest with you, when that time when we lost to Bayern, like it was 10-2 on aggregate when we had
Yeah.
that squad selection then.
Yeah.
This squad selection then have really changed. We could have been Bayern if the Arsenal players just ran up and scored. The moment we were being Bayern Munich, we would have been in the semi-final. We could have had either Real Madrid or Dortmund. If we could have been those teams even like in Champions League, and if we was had to get them in the semi-final before you know, we were 2 steps away from Wembley. You know,
Yes.
Can I be honest with you? Can I honest with the both of you before we wrap it up here? I've never seen Arsenal win the league at Emirates. All my life here as an Arsenal fan, even since day one I've been coming to Arsenal games, I've never seen Arsenal lift up their arms up in the air with a trophy. It could have happened this season. We were this close. We bought against Villa. So whatever happened this season, we have to sell it. And next season will be a fresh season. I'm all ready to go next season. Okay, I still believe in this club, and I love this club so much.
Yeah, there we go. So I think let's just wrap it up quickly with one question for each of you guys. Mikel Arteta next season, just a yes or no, does he have to win a trophy?
He has to win the trophy because, like Curtis said, early, in cup competitions like what the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, think of it. Our first FA Cup game this season against Liverpool, and we got spanked by Liverpool at home.
It wasn't even at Anfield.
Even when we beat, and it wasn't even at Anfield. We drew to them at Anfield.
Chance after chance.
And chance after chance, exactly. When
Yeah.
we drew to them, it was our only chance to win the league because we were still top of the league then. But when we lost to them in the FA Cup, why? It was literally we drew to them. We had to take that because we still top of the league. Okay, Carabao Cup, we beat Brentford. Yes, good. Second Carabao Cup this season, we lost to West Ham.
Ham,
They're
yeah.
not as good as we are. Come on, like we need to be winning trophies. Okay, we got to the Carabao
be in
Cup
the mix
final
for
in
all of them.
we got to the Carabao Cup final in 2018 against Manchester City, but we didn't win it. But we need to win Carabao Cup. We need to if we want to go to Wembley next season, we need to start winning, more trophies.
So,
Mikel
Curtis,
Arteta, you've
yes.
got one more year. I'm sorry, you've got one more year. I've been a big fan of yours. Like, it's been interesting with you because there was a point after the first 12 to 18 months. It was at breaking point when we lost those first 3 games of the season. When it was was it Brentford at home, Chelsea? Was it Chelsea? No, Chelsea at home.
Man City.
Oh, sorry. So
It was
Brentford away.
Man City away, and Chelsea at home, wasn't it?
Or I think it was
0 out of 3.
Yeah, it was something like I think it was like Brentford away, Chelsea at home, and then
Yeah, that's right,
and then
and
Manchester
City
City
away,
away. And
yeah.
after that, and then he managed to get the result against Norwich, and we started to get faith in him as a manager. But I think it might be like £600 million spent.
Yeah.
We're 4.5, almost 5 years into the project. Come this December, for me, you're a great manager, but you're not an elite manager to win a major honour.
Yes.
And for me, you've got 1 season left.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So I know people are saying renew him for 3 years or what have you, but we need to really look at the situation. If it comes to May 2020, ask questions because we can't be 5.5 years into a process and still no major honours. Like, fair enough, we're putting up there with Klopp and Guardiola. Guardiola is a great manager because he's done 4 Premier League titles in a go. He's done 6 out of 7. People overlook Klopp because even though he's only won Premier League, He's won it with everything else with Liverpool, like FA Cup, Carabao Cup, etc.
Brilliant.
So, you know, realistically, Arteta, you've got to get it over the line. If not, I think it will go back to how it was when we had the protest when it was the European Super League.
Exactly.
You're
Think
gonna
of
get
the protest.
You're
We
gonna
don't
get
wanna start protesting
and you get
again.
banners outside. You're gonna get banners outside the Emirates, banners inside the Emirates, and you'll create a division amongst the fan base, and we don't want that.
we
because
don't.
we've only just
Exactly.
reunited the fans with the club.
Exactly. To be honest with you, yeah, I've never protested in my life as an Arsenal fan. The last protest Arsenal fans did was with Emery, Wenger. If this happens again, I even said this to myself. I'll say this to my Arsenal friends. I said this to my mom. Yeah, if we don't win this league next season, even till May, we drop points, then I can't lie, it will be Arteta out for me, because I've had this back since 2023. Fans have been saying, give him a chance, we'll still get them, but I've given him a chance. Like, we cannot just be doing so well, then any season we ball it. Like, no, we cannot do that. So, because let's just say, imagine we ball any of this year again, and then our games next year we still don't win our Premier League games next year in 2025. Arteta, if that happens again, I'm sorry, you gotta go, because I know you love this club, but you can't keep laying us down every single year, each season. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to look at how Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola have been making they're the team that they love to win trophies. If you want that, look back on yourself and buy players. If it happens again, then you gotta go.
There we go. We need a good, solid transfer window. I want to see some top players coming in. I want good recruitment. I want a strong start to next season. And I agree with both of the guys. We need a trophy next season. Very, very important. But overall, subscribe to the VJ Wallace Show and come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners.